Hey everyone, Richard here. It is Thursday evening. I'm in the foothills below Yosemite in Central California. And tonight I'm going to talk to you about the 3 forms of self-motivation and the one that'll kill you. So I'm sure you're going to want to know about that. So for context sake, most of you have probably, if you're following me, you've heard of this book or read it. I wrote Mach 2 in 1995. My gosh, that's like 22 years ago. And I wrote that book because I spent time with a couple of really powerful transformational coaches that introduced me to a couple of concepts I'm going to talk about tonight and helped me frame the way motivation could work for me. And I'm not suggesting that the way I talk about self-motivation and all this stuff is the only way that it is, and it's the only way that it works. It's just the way that it works for me. Like I'm a famous motivational speaker do a video a couple of nights ago, and she says that motivation is hooey. Like motivation doesn't work, and motivation is meaningless, and motivation is a waste of time. And then you have other people that say, you know, you can't motivate other people, and I take issue with all of that. I think motivation is not only really, really important, but it's the most important thing when it comes to you and I getting from point A to point B and creating the success that we're looking for in our life. And I think that you and I can motivate other people. In fact, I imagine I'm going to be motivating some people tonight with this conversation. So let's get into it. So first of all, I want to tell you a story about part of my journey in the transformational development and learning how to master my mind and take control of my thoughts and manifest some kind of chosen destiny in my life. I started off reading the book Think and Grow Rich, which probably all of you are familiar with. I read that book in 1977. I probably read it 10 times. And I got to tell you, I'm not stupid. But that book didn't really didn't make a lot of sense to me. It was perhaps above me. I just didn't grab the concepts and implement them the way I could have and should have. And it just was confusing to me. And one of the things that Napoleon Hill says in the book Think and Grow Rich that confused me is he said, if you want something bad enough, that you'll get it. And, you know, I was in business. I was new in business in 1977, and I really, 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 really wanted, and I really needed to be successful. But I was driving a borrowed car. I was sleeping in a, studio apartment in a fold-out bed. I didn't have anything left to my name. I needed to make it, and I wanted to make it more than anything else. And you know what that did? That's what that did. But it did not lead to success. And so here's a distinction that I got from a guy named Lou Tice. Lou Tice has passed away now, but he owned the Pacific Institute in Seattle, Washington. And for many years, he was my coach and introduced me to some concepts that, they modernized, if you will, Think and Grow Rich. And they added perhaps some modern day psychology and understanding of how the mind worked, and made a lot more sense to me. And here's the distinction. This is one of the most powerful distinctions that I've ever got in my career. And here's the distinction, that what you and I want matters a great deal in terms of giving us direction. So here we are in the landscape of our life, and what we want, what that does for us is it tells us, okay, where do we want to go? What we want gives us direction. I want to go over here. I want to sit on this beach. I want to go over here and serve at the soup kitchen. I want to go help these people. I want to build a business empire. I want to raise a family. What you and I want gives us direction. Like, it tells us where we want to go. But here's what Lou Tice taught me. What we want actually doesn't make any difference at all in our ability to get there. None. And this was really challenging for me because I thought, after reading Think and Grow Rich 10 times and listening to all of Napoleon Hill's contemporaries, that I just needed to want it real bad, and then, you know, things were going to happen. Like I would end up doing what I needed to do to get there. And it didn't happen. And so, you know, I guess that's why I was attracted to Lou Tice. He was, you know, offering a different way to look at things. So here's what does matter. And it's a distinction different from what you and I want. What matters is what we expect. What matters is our mindset. What matters is our belief around the inevitability of where we want to go. So, for example, you know, let's say that you want to build an income. You want to build a business. You want to build an income. And you want that really bad. And you want all the things that go with it. You want to travel. You want to help people. Maybe you want to get on stage and speak. You want to be respected. You know, I wanted that. And the way I kind of summed it up is I didn't want to get on the stage and speak, actually. I just wanted to matter. I didn't really matter that much at the chicken plant. And I found in the career that I chose, network marketing, I found an opportunity to matter. I really wanted to matter. So that's what we want. Now, what do we have to do to get there? Let's, you know, point A and point B. Point A is where we are now, and point B is where we want to go. So desire matters because it lets you figure out where you want to go. But how do you close the gap? How do you go from A to B? How do you do that? You don't do it with desire. That's why when you look at the things that you need to do, you know, whether it's working out or eating fresh and right, or, you know, doing the things you need to do every day to build your business, that's why just because you want to do them doesn't necessarily mean that you do them. Why? Because it's this other thing that matters, this mindset, this inevitability belief, this expectation. And what is that all about? Well, here's the simplest way to describe it. When you think of point B, the thing that you want, when you think of point B, just casually throughout the day, 24 hours a day, is the movie that you watch, and we all tend to think in movies, pictures, you know, they create feelings, but they start first with the pictures. So the movie that you watch of point B, what's the movie that you watch? So I'll give you some options. These are the 3 forms of motivation, by the way. So the first one is, this is the rare one. This is the one where people that watch this movie, they actually do what they need to do to get to point B. And they do it naturally, they do it effortlessly, it's fun for them, and they do it powerfully. And the way they think about point B is not only do they want to get to point B, but when they think about point B, they see themselves at point B. Like, it's inevitable. It's beautiful. They see all the details of it. They see the people that are at point B. They see the flowers that are at point B. They see the income at point B. Maybe they see the home at point B. Maybe they see the car at point B. Maybe they see the beach at point B. Maybe they just see the respect that they're going to get at point B. That's just the way they see it. That's the whole movie. That's the theme of the movie. And it's consistent and it's dominant. Like, there's no difference between what they want and what they expect to get. They're one and the same. So if I were to, like, you know, quiz you on, okay, what do you want? Why do you want it? Give me the details. Tell me what it looks like 5 years from now. What do you really want? If I were to ask all those questions, and then I would be able to peer into your mind and your heart and your body and transcribe, if you will, all of the thoughts that you had about what you want, they would be the same. They would be synonymous. They would be like you already arrived. And I won't go into here the neuroscience of how that happens, but it's as simple as when your expectation and your mindset matches what you want, what your mind does is create for you what I call green lights. Simpling it down so that I can understand it. Green lights. So let's say you're in the sales business. Here's what a green light looks like. You're in the sales business. You got a goal. What you want to do is be number one in the company, whatever. And so if I were to peer into your heart and your mind and your expectation, and I would follow you around and eavesdrop on your thoughts, what I would see is a movie of you being number one. Never a doubt, always on stage, always collecting the award, always, always, always. And so that's the big picture, but the little picture is the green lights, and that's what we want to pay attention to. So how do you get there? How do you get from point A to point B naturally and powerfully? Because if I were to peer into your thoughts, when you saw a prospect, a sales prospect, maybe you see him on a list, maybe you see him in social media, maybe you see him walking through a hotel, maybe they're your Uber driver, maybe they're sitting next to you on an airplane, you get green lighted. Why do you get green lighted? Because your story, your movie is the same as what you want. And that green light sounds like this. They're interested. They're going to enjoy the conversation. They're waiting for me to ask them if I can talk to them. It's all going to be good. They might just be the one that takes me to number one. That's what a green light sounds like. So that's the number one form of motivation. Here's the second form of motivation. We call it status quo or apathy. And so what you have over here is point B. If I can get this, okay, this is point B. This is what you want. This is where you are. Get these right, I got to do it backwards. This is what you want. This is where you are. Now the motivation that I just talked about, the green light motivation, that's called like being on fire about your goal. Like your vision is right up here, matched up with your goal. They're one and the same. So this is what you want. This is where you are. And if you're in apathy or status quo, your vision is right here, wrapped around where you are. So this is what you want. This is where you are. This is your vision or your movie. If I were to peer into your mind and eavesdrop on your mind, what I would be hearing is, oh, I want to be number one, but... And then the movie and the conversation would be all about how life is now. But, you know, I'm usually number 3, or I'm usually number 10, or, but I don't really know what I'm doing, or, but I need more training, or, but I need more time, like that. So that is what we call an apathetic vision, and that's like yellow lights. So yellow lights are always pumping the brakes. They're always slowing down. They're always, oh, well, what if I go for it and I fail? You know, it's yellow lights, caution, caution, caution. That's an apathetic vision. And so those people are always pumping the brakes. Like they get all excited about something, and then the problem is their story, their dominant story, their belief, their expectation, their mindset is not wrapped around what they want. It's wrapped around who they are and where they are now. And they just don't know the process of letting go of that and gravitating up and creating a new vision. So they have yellow lights, they pump the brakes, they're afraid of everything. What if I fail? What if I go too fast? What if other people this? What if? Those are the people that have yellow lights and they're pumping the brakes. So they see maybe a prospect, maybe they see somebody on social media, and what do their yellow lights sound like? Oh, they could be great, but they won't listen to me. Or what if I don't know what to say? Or what if I mess it up? Or what if I call them at the wrong time? Or what if they're offended that I asked them if they would take a look? Pump the brakes, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. And what I would ask you about that is, who has ever won a race pumping the brakes? You win races, full tilt boogie, pedal to the metal, right? On fire. That's how, not literally, but on fire is how you win races. And here's the third form of motivation, and this one will kill you. It's called self-sabotage, undermining, self-sabotage. Probably a more common word for it is worry. So here's what it looks like. This is what you want. This is where you are. I'm going to try to get these up. This is where you are. This is what you want. This is where you are. And if I were to peek into your mind and transcribe your thoughts around your belief and your expectation and your mindset about what you want and where you are, what it would sound like is, oh, I'm afraid things are going to get worse. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, or, the economy is going to, fall apart. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Whether it's personally or financially or relative to your business or anything, the people that have a self-sabotaging vision, all they do is worry about things getting worse. And that's a vision. That's a story. That's a mindset. That's an expectation. That's a belief. And what does that produce? Red lights. So here you are. Here's where you want to go. And all you do is keep your foot on the brake. Foot on the brake. Brakes. You got your feet on the brakes. You keep your feet on the brakes, what happens to your status quo? What happens to where you are now? I'll tell you what happens. You get bigger, you get sicker, you get broker, and then you die. You ever known somebody that died from being broke? I have. People very close to me. Somebody really, really close to me died at the age of 66 just because he was broke. Why? Because he didn't have any more money, and he didn't have any way in his mind to make more money, and he just gave up on everything, gave up on life, gave up on himself, gave up on his family, gave up on fun, gave up on his friends, just gave up. And, there's so many things out there that can take a human being out, it doesn't take much, a little virus, a little disease, a little whatever. You put you that instead of that, that's the way you live your life. Like whatever you've created in life is right here. And, you don't need to maybe do anything more to make it any better. No, I'm not one to ever tell somebody, you should, live a life on fire, and you should create all kinds of abundance, and you should travel the world, and doesn't matter to me what you do. Do whatever you want to do. But I don't know too many people that want things to get worse. Do you? But there's a whole lot of people that spend a lot of time studying that things are going to get worse. They watch the worst news. They talk to the worst people. They hang around the worst people. Misery loves company, Red lighters tend to hang around red lighters. Yellow lighters tend to hang around yellow lighters. Green lighters tend to hang around green lighters. So one of the ways that you can change your perspective and change your conversation and change your mindset is change who you hang around. Basically, it could be change whose podcasts you listen to, change what books you read, change what TV shows you listen to, change the groups on social media that you hang out with. Change the communities that you go hang out with physically. Maybe change what you do for a living, or maybe add something to what you do for a living that brings you around a group of green light people. So what you can drop in the comments if you're any interested, is are you a green lighter? Are you on fire? Are you a yellow lighter? Apathetic, brake pumper? Or are you a red lighter? Worry, 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 drama, 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 trying to drag everybody down into your pity party. I don't expect you to put that in the comments. But any comments you have about this, I'd love to hear them, and I'll comment back. And if it was of value, share it, right? Share, 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 share.